Hi, this is Chloe McClintock, County Clerk for Llano County, and you're listening to Texas County Voice, a podcast for all 254 counties.
Welcome to Texas County Voice. I'm Jody Seaburn with the Texas Association of Counties. In this episode, I'm joined by Cass County Judge Travis Ransom for a conversation about the 89th legislative session and some of the issues shaping Texas from the county level up. Let's get started. Judge Ransom, welcome to Texas County Voice.
Howdy, good to see you.
One of the key issues you supported this session was House Bill 1109, which exempts counties from state motor fuel taxes. How significant will the savings be for Cass County's fleet operations and overall budget?
We burn about 100,000 gallons in our road and bridge district, and we burn about 100,000 gallons of fuel with our sheriff's department every year. So that 20 cents a gallon is about $40,000 to the good for our budget. So that will save us. We estimate that'll save us approximately $40,000 a year, which is not nothing. It's a big deal. So 20 cents a gallon for every gallon of on road diesel or gasoline saved. So we're excited about that passing. We appreciate the common sense legislation like this being pushed across the state, and so that'll be a good savings for us.
Do you anticipate some of these savings that you'll be able to redirect them toward other services or infrastructure projects?
Absolutely. We always have more needs than we have resources. Our needs will always outpace our resources. In Cass County, we have almost 1,000 linear miles of county roads to maintain, and we have a very small budget to maintain those roads. We're underfunded significantly in our county road budget. So every dollar that we can save is a dollar that, if we can save it on one expense, we're trying to pour more resources into our county road and bridge budget, which has been underfunded for the last 40 years. Right now, we've been able to increase our funding by 20% without raising the tax rate, which is a good thing at the direction. But we didn't get here overnight. We're not going to get out of it overnight. There's no silver bullet. We appreciate anything that we can do that saves counties money. When one taxes another taxing entity, the constituents wind up really paying for that inefficiency in government. And that's what we were trying to address with this bill. And there's some other opportunities in the future legislature to address similar things. For example, the hotel motel tax is something that the counties pay, but the federal government and the state government don't pay. And it's strange that the government would be paying taxes to a partner in government when the county is the action arm of the state legislature. So we think that that's tax churn or inefficient government. So that's we're looking for other opportunities to do more.
Well, next session.
That's right. It never ends. The 90th will be here before we know it.
Indeed. Were there other measures from the 89th session that you viewed as priorities for Cass County or for counties in general?
Well, the continuation of funding for transportation infrastructure is important for us. We're an oil-producing county, like many in Texas, and so that funding is important. Also, the Lateral Roads Fund, which is a portion of the state motor fuels tax, which is allocated to rural counties. It has not been changed in many, many years. It's just a very small amount. In fact, our county receives only $38,000 a year from the county road and bridge. I'm sorry, the lateral road fund, but we were spending about $40,000 in motor fuels tax. So we're literally paying into the state and then withdrawing it back into the state. And my assertion was, look, there's parasitic loss in the administration, collection, redistribution of this tax money that's just inefficient. And I think the same is true in a couple of other instances. So, but this last legislative session, of course, we also supported the Rural Ambulance Service grant funding, which will be a big help for our rural ambulance service. We contract that, but I know that we work in partnership to maintain, ambulance service in a broad rural area, and that's critically important because access to healthcare is really a challenge in rural Texas.
What's your overall assessment of this session from a county perspective?
We have had some success, and we've had, it could have been better. It could have been much worse. I think overall it was above average. I think for counties, certainly, I think the legislature has. I think the legislature has started to listen a lot more to local elected folks, and I would just encourage you, if you're listening to this podcast, more than likely you're a county commissioner or you're a county judge, and it's important to engage your legislators regularly. And the time to develop a relationship with those legislators is not during the session; it's before the session, so that you can have a good relationship to weather the storm that is the legislative session. Would be my advice, but overall, I think the legislature this time was an okay session. It was, like I said, could always be better, but it could have certainly been a lot worse. We had some wins, and we had probably some losses.
How long have you served as Cass County Judge?
So I took office May of 2022, and before then, I was the mayor of the city of Atlanta, Texas, the second largest Atlanta in the nation.
So were you appointed then?
I was appointed right after the primary election. I had no general opponent. And I ran in the primary. It was an open seat. The current county judge was retiring, and so she resigned or retired right after the primary election, and then I was appointed to take the unexpired term. So I got a little head start on my peers, and then we had a massive turnover in county government that year, because I think we had somewhere close to 80 county judges turnover, and then over 150 county commissioners turnover. And that's something I've talked to the legislature about, because that's the biggest turnover in county government, I think, in recent history at least, and maybe ever. And I think that's important to note. A lot of folks were really fatigued coming out of COVID. Counties were really at the point of friction during the COVID shutdowns, and implementing some fairly challenging things during the COVID times. And I think that is this turnover has been a direct result of that. But in my opinion, it's a clean slate. It's a new day for county government to approach the legislature, work in partnership with them, and I'd like to see a return to local control, because I feel like the government closest to the people is the one that is best equipped to take care of them and answer the mail for those people.
Yeah, preemption has been a pretty major theme the past few sessions.
Yeah, I spent, full disclosure, I'm a recovering legislative staffer. I spent 11 years working for a state senator in Senate District 1, Senator Kevin Eltife. I worked for him for 11 years, from 2004 to 2015. And so kind of learn the ropes working for him. And it's interesting to have the perspective now of a county judge and a former mayor, and going back to Austin and working those halls and having those meetings and trying to address really common sense, meaningful policy.
So you've been on both sides of the fence. So that gives you a perspective that I don't think a lot of county officials or legislators have.
Yeah, and it's important. I look for those legislators who have served previously at both the municipal level and the county level, because they typically understand the importance of local control and how to, the constraints that are placed on them by one size fits all solutions, or by too much regulatory oversight, or too many strings attached to funding mechanisms that small local governments don't have the staff to manage. I think there's a lot of missed opportunities in small towns because they don't have the staff in small towns to put together grant applications or to maintain the reporting requirements. And so anything we can do to streamline and lessen the administrative burden, that's why we're heavy participators in things like the Council of Government or the Texas Association of Counties, because we tap into those larger pools of resources that we otherwise couldn't afford to have locally.
What inspired you to get involved in county government, to run for county judge?
Oh, wow. So I guess I'm just a glutton for punishment. I grew up in small town USA, Atlanta, Texas, and like everyone else in my graduating class, the first thing I wanted to do was leave. And I joined the army and went overseas. And my first deployment was to Bosnia, and I got to see what happens when a society completely breaks down and the aftermath of war. And when I came back to back home, I had a new appreciation for just how nice it is to have a police that responds when you call them, clean water that comes out when you turn the tap on, or the lights come on when you turn the lights on, and things that we just take for granted, a justice system and due process, those things that we take for granted. And so I quickly realized that those who show up, are usually their concerns are addressed. And so I started volunteering in my community. I took ownership of the community, and I started volunteering with the Lions Club, which I'm still very active in, and got appointed to a board for the local library. And then suddenly I became the mayor for the city of Atlanta. And then this seemed like the next kind of logical step. I had worked with county judges when I was a staffer for the legislature, and those guys were really at the point of friction. As a command sergeant major in the Army, it's a very similar job, and I'll tell people that you have responsibility as a command sergeant major, but you don't have authority because the commander has the authority. The same is true as a county judge. You have responsibility for everything, but you have very little authority. So it's a big exercise in getting along with others and helping people and addressing the needs of the people. So it's a community that I want people to be proud to call home. And so I jumped in kind of with both feet when the current county judge, or the former county judge, let me know that she was not running again. I was actually in Afghanistan closing out America's longest war. And so when I came back, I kind of jumped right into a campaign for county judge, and I'm glad it worked out. And I love it. Every day is new. Every day is different. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you mentioned, I think there are two things that county judges run into quite a bit: is people not knowing what a county judge does because of the title county judge, and then the lack of authority that counties. Yep. People think counties have the same type of authority as, say, cities, but that's not the case.
That's right. And I'll tell you, ordinance making authority is something that the cities have, and sometimes can abuse that authority in over regulation. But as Texas grows, that you point out another challenge of ours now is we have neighborhoods that are popping up on the outskirts of cities that are outside the city limits, but they're in the county, but the county doesn't have ordinance making authority, and the cities are constrained in their ability to annex and grow. And so when you have more people congregate in an area, you're going to have conflict that, generally speaking, the government needs to ordain or work out or mitigate. And whether that's a noise ordinance or whether that is just making sure that streets are the right size for fire trucks to get down for public safety. And so I think those are some of the future challenges that we're going to face as a state in trying to determine, should counties have a little bit more authority to address the needs of those outlying communities that are growing like wildfire in Texas. But yeah, the county judge position is truly unique in that you're the only position probably in America that's in all three branches of government at once, because you have judicial responsibility. I do probate court, I do misdemeanor criminal court, and I do mental health commitments and guardianships. And so that's my judicial responsibility. I'm the presiding officer over the commissioner's court, and I have a vote. So I vote on policies for my county. So that's sort of a legislative position. And then as the CEO of the county, I'm the executor. I sign all the contracts, I negotiate all the deals. And so I'm the executive officer for the county. So it's really a unique position where you're in all three branches of government at once. And I don't know. It is really strange when I talk to people, especially from other states who are not structured the way we are. They have a real hard time understanding that.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about Cass County.
So Cass County is a large rural county nestled in the northeast Texas. Timber is king up here. We are in the piney woods behind the pine curtain, as they say. A lot of folks think Tyler is northeast Texas, and I would just tell you that Tyler is where northeast Texas begins. They are 2 hours south of us. We're on the edge of Louisiana and Arkansas. And so it's a really beautiful area, lots of rolling hills and pine trees. We have Atlanta State Park, which is a wonderful state park. We're just north of Caddo Lake State Park, which is over in Marion County, south of us. But if you think about cultures colliding here, we're in the old South. We're not the West. We have great Tex-Mex. We've got great Cajun food because we're right next door to Louisiana, and we've got great comfort Southern food. So I mean, I love to eat, as it's probably clear. But it's a great place. Timber is king. Like I said, we're off interstate, so you still have small town USA and mom and pop stores. Whereas interstate, you have the same box stores and chain restaurants. If you go to one in Los Angeles, you've been to the same one in Dallas, you've been to one in Mississippi. They're all the same. Cass County is full of small towns that are small town USA, where you have local people running stores, local people running restaurants, and that's the unique thing about the area that I really appreciate and really enjoy. Every town has its particular vibe or its culture, and there's a lot of identity tied to our schools. Football, high school football, Friday Night Lights is a big gathering. It's a social gathering. People go to the high school football games that don't have kids in school. That's just part of the thing here. It's great. So we're on Highway 59, which is I think it's the highest traffic non-interstate highway in the nation. You get about 30,000 cars a day through Atlanta, Texas, and that's a future interstate corridor. So one of the long-term challenges for our future is how do we maintain the identity of small town USA as an interstate highway is built through our county. And so that will be the challenge for the next 50 years, really, as that build out occurs. So I'll be here for it.
Well, one thing in doing a little research into Cass County before we began this interview, I learned that Cass County is one of only 3 Texas counties that borders 2 states, and you've mentioned that you border Arkansas and Louisiana. How do you approach? Do you have any interaction with your neighboring counties in Arkansas and Louisiana, and how do you approach working with them?
Yeah, so the commissioners sometimes have, and the commissioners and the sheriff's deputies frequently have contact with Caddo Parish. Caddo Parish is our Louisiana neighbor, and we have worked with them. In fact, we had an escaped inmate a year or so ago that fled to Louisiana, and the Caddo Parish sheriff's deputies picked him up and brought him back. So that was awfully nice of them. But so we work pretty closely with them. We also have a road that it's state line road. It is a road that is right on the Louisiana-Texas border, and the right side, it's a Cass County road, but the right side of the road are all Louisiana residents, and the left side of the road are Texas residents. And so that's an interesting road. And occasionally, the road crew has to get out there and work on it and ask for some assistance with culverts or driveways or cutting the brush back, maintaining the right of way, which is technically in Louisiana. So that's always interesting.
Well, just to complete the answer to the trivia question, the other 2 counties that border 2 states are Bowie, just north of you, and Dallam, up in the far northwestern corner of Texas.
Oh, I wondered. So I knew Bowie, because they're our big brother to the north. I did not know the other, Dallam. Okay.
Yeah. New Mexico and Oklahoma. All right. Last question. What do you enjoy doing in your free time?
So I am a car guy. I love a good road trip, and I kind of grew up working on old cars and watching a lot of races on TV, but nothing beats going to a race in person. And so I go to the Indy 500 with a group of old Army buddies every year and childhood friends. And then this weekend, we're actually going to Pikes Peak, to the Pikes Peak Hill Climb. So the Indy 500 is, I think, the oldest auto race in America, and Pikes Peak is the second oldest auto race in America. So we'll go to Colorado Springs and watch the race up the mountain, which is amazing. I also love to go to the Bonneville, to the Salt Flats, and watch the land speed racing. So I'm not hooked on any one particular type of racing. The bottom line is, if it goes fast and has wheels, I want to see it and ride on it or drive it or wreck it. It's a lot of fun.
So you do drive race cars?
If given the opportunity. I've done some drag racing. I've done some dirt track in the past, but not currently. I have an old beat up car that I like to take on road trips right now, and I derive a whole lot more fun out of that and it's a lot cheaper than actually racing. So right now it's just we're making the attending the races is part of the adventure, and that's the fun right now.
Well, Judge Ransom, I thank you for your time. Any parting thoughts?
I would just say, Texas is leading the way for the nation, and we at the local level are really the action arm. We're at the point of friction. And so county governments, it's so important for us to to lead the way, because what we do at our level truly impacts the nation. And so be encouraged, because there's no better place on the planet than Texas.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's it for this episode of Texas County Voice. A big thank you to Cass County Judge Travis Ransom for joining us and sharing his insights. If you want to stay up to date on the latest legislative developments and how they affect counties, be sure to follow TAC's County Issues newsletter, delivered monthly to your inbox with updates straight from the Capitol. And mark your calendars for the Texas Association of Counties 2025 Legislative Conference, coming up August 27th through the 29th in Austin. To learn more about tax resources and events, visit county.org. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.